John Lawrence, the forgotten revolutionary who fought for freedom. Welcome back to Memorandum, Stories Worth Remembering. Today, we're diving into the life of a man history often forgets, but whose courage and vision for freedom still echo across centuries. His name is John Lawrence, a revolutionary soldier, a close friend of Alexander Hamilton, and one of the earliest voices who dared to call for the abolition of slavery in a time when society wasn't ready to listen. Lawrence's story is short. He died at just 27 years old, but it is filled with bravery, sacrifice, and inspiration. So let's step into his world and uncover why his voice still matters today. John Lawrence was born in 1754 in South Carolina into one of the wealthiest plantation families of the colonies. His father's fortune came from slave labor, which was considered normal at the time. But Lawrence was different. Even as a young man, he grew to despise slavery and believed that freedom should belong to everyone. Unlike many of his peers, Lawrence was educated in Europe, spending time in Switzerland and England. There, he encountered Enlightenment ideals of liberty and equality. These ideas became the foundation of his lifelong fight for justice. One of the most powerful aspects of Lawrence's story is his deep friendship with Alexander Hamilton, who would go on to become one of America's founding fathers. Their bond was more than just battlefield camaraderie. They shared an intellectual connection, writing to each other about liberty, honor, and the future of the new nation. Hamilton once described Lawrence as the bravest friend he had ever known. Lawrence didn't just talk about freedom, he lived it on the battlefield. He joined the Continental Army, often leading from the front lines, never afraid of danger. His courage inspired soldiers around him, and he became known as a fearless warrior who would rather die than see tyranny win. But what truly set him apart was his radical idea. He wanted to form a regiment made up of enslaved men who would be given freedom in exchange for fighting for America's independence. It was revolutionary thinking. At a time when slavery was the backbone of the Southern economy, Lawrence stood almost alone in demanding that America's fight for freedom should also mean freedom for those in bondage. His proposal was rejected, fiercely opposed by the South. But Lawrence never gave up. Until his last days, he fought for this vision. Lawrence wasn't just Hamilton's friend. He also earned the respect of George Washington. Washington admired his bravery, though sometimes worried Lawrence took too many risks. Still, Lawrence's passion for justice left an impression even on the commander-in-chief. Sadly, Lawrence's story ended too soon. In 1782, near the end of the war, he was killed in a small skirmish in South Carolina at just 27 years old. America had almost won its independence, but Lawrence never lived to see the final victory. Though his life was short, Lawrence's impact was lasting. He was one of the first American revolutionaries to openly demand the abolition of slavery, planting seeds that later generations would fight to make real. His story reminds us that greatness is not measured in years, but in the courage to stand for what is right, even if it cost us everything. If his voice could rise above the silence of his time, then ours can too. This has been the story of John Lawrence, the forgotten hero of the American Revolution. If you found inspiration in his journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to uncover the voices that shaped our world. Until next time, this is Nefer Titi. Thank you for listening.